Democrat councilwoman from Ohio is facing up to 50 years in prison. Tamaya Denard, the Cincinnati Democrat, has been accused of exchanging her votes for money. Denard was arrested by FBI agents on Tuesday. Tamaya Denard, pictured here, has said that Maxine Waters was among the other Democrats who inspired her to run for office. Tamaya Denard also made this bizarre claim after the Notre Dame fire, suggesting that media coverage of the fire was another example of white privilege. Denard was also a big supporter of Hillary Clinton's failed 2016 presidential campaign, claiming that Hillary Clinton was treated unfairly by the media because of her gender. Interesting how this mirrors some of the other cases we've been following on this channel recently, as before she was arrested by FBI agents this week, Tamaya Denard was promoted by Democrats as yet another rising star in the party. She was hired as the political director for the Senate campaign of fellow Ohio Democrat P.G. Sittenfeld. She was also named one of the winners of the Top 40 Under 40 award in 2014. Unfortunately for Denard, this arrest is likely to get in the way of her big political ambitions. Back in 2014, when asked in an interview who she would trade jobs with, Denard responded, "It would have to be President Barack Obama. I would like to be President of the United States of America," said Denard. Other new reports on this case today, as more citizens have just filed paperwork demanding that Tamaya Denard be removed from office. Let's start by looking at this article from yesterday with the headline, "Ohio Democrat tried to trade votes for cash, could get 50 years in prison." Councilwoman arrested Tuesday on federal corruption charges. Shortly after being taken into custody, Tamaya Denard appeared in court in handcuffs and leg irons to face charges of honest services fraud, bribery, and attempted extortion. In one instance, a source linked to a downtown development project who was cooperating with the FBI, handed Denard a cashier's check for $10,000. Denard's reaction to this bribe was recorded. She said, quote, "Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. I'm going right to the bank on this." Another time, Denard allegedly requested $15,000, saying, quote, "It would be awesome if this were initiated today." Denard was released after Tuesday's hearing pending further court action, but was ordered to surrender her passport. Federal authorities allege that Denard had requested sums of $10,000 to $15,000 for personal expenses from the source. This source is a representative of a law firm linked to the development project along the Ohio River. That person then worked with the FBI to provide text messages and recorded conversations involving Denard between August and December of 2019, leading to her arrest. Quote, "Denard engaged in a scheme to defraud the citizens of Cincinnati of her honest services as a council member," FBI agent Nathan Holbrook wrote in a statement, adding, quote, "She engaged in acts and attempted acts of bribery and extortion, attempting to exchange her votes for money." Meanwhile, Denard's attorney is claiming that his client is innocent of the charges. He says, quote, "I don't believe that she's done anything unethical or illegal, and will be looking to fight that." Authorities allege that Denard persisted in seeking cash from the source, even after the source told her in a recorded conversation that the requests were totally inappropriate and advised her, "Please don't suggest it again." Denard used some of the cash to pay for a trip with a friend to a resort in Clearwater Beach. Other payments went toward her rent, a car, and other expenses. Councilwoman was arrested while on her way to a Starbucks store in the morning and appeared in court a few hours later. They say that what happens next is uncertain because the city charter does not address whether a council member can continue to serve after being accused of a crime. If convicted, however, Ohio state law would force her removal. Denard also faces other problems, they add, such as investigations over allegedly illegally texting with other council members, allegedly failing to list debts on her financial disclosure form, and reportedly facing eviction from the apartment building where she currently lives. According to Tuesday's federal affidavit, during these recorded conversations, Denard agreed to give her support to a proposed land swap necessary for the construction of a music venue at the Banks development on Cincinnati's riverfront. Denard first asked the unnamed person for $10,000 to pay for personal expenses, explaining she needed to cover her rent, attorney's fees, and the down payment on a car. Later, in the same call, the affidavit states, Denard asked for $15,000. The source refused to give her the money, according to the affidavit, but did suggest she could contact legal aid for help with her personal financial problems, which included an eviction. Quote, "It would be totally inappropriate for me to represent you or provide any financial assistance," the unnamed person wrote in a text message to Denard. He said, quote, "Please don't suggest it again." But authorities say Denard persisted in asking for money. At that point, they say the unnamed source contacted the FBI and began assisting the federal investigation by recording phone calls, preserving text messages, and agreeing to wear a recording device during in-person meetings with Denard. During one such meeting on September 5th, court records say, Denard again asked for $10,000, saying, quote, "It's more of like trying to get a car, and like I said, money for a new place to live, and then just a little bit of breathing room," she wrote in a text message, according to the affidavit. When the source asked Denard to help get the land swap proposal between the city and Hilltop Basic Concrete into a council committee, Denard said, quote, "I don't think that will be an issue." In that September 5th conversation, the affidavit says Denard and the source had the following exchange. The source asked, quote, "Do you think, can we count on your support with what we're talking about here?" Denard responded saying, "Sure, yeah." Source said, "Yeah, we're good on that." Denard said, "Yeah." Denard then went on to ask the source to give her a chance to, quote, "spend some time with this today," and said that she'd get back in touch. Later that day, according to the affidavit, she texted the source to ask if $15K is doable. She said she'd created a promissory note to repay the money over 6 years. Quote, "It would be awesome if this were initiated today," Denard said, according to the affidavit. In the same conversation, Denard spoke about the method of payment, saying, "Check is cool." And later, in an apparent reference to the promissory note, she said such a note would be important because, quote, "I want to make sure I'm being, what do they call it? I'm ethical." On September 6th, federal authorities say the source and Denard talked again about the exchange of money for support of the land swap. The source agreed to pay $10,000 then and another $5,000 after the vote. Quote, "You're good with supporting Hilltop's proposal to do the land swap?" the source said. Denard responded, quote, "Yes." Denard also said that she was willing to provide additional help to the source in exchange for more money. On November 2nd, authorities say, Denard sent the source a text message, which reads, quote, "Just to make sure we are going to be okay, please send a little help to me today. Cash App is okay, or I can meet you later. I hate to be transactional, but you've kinda made it like that." Denard is charged with 1 count each of honest services wire fraud, carrying up to 20 years in prison, bribery concerning programs receiving federal funds, that carries up to 10 years in prison, and attempted extortion under color of right, up to 20 years in prison. Denard is also currently facing an Ohio elections complaint for taking consulting fees from her campaign finance account. And again, this morning, more reports that they're taking further steps to try to remove Tamaya Denard from office. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest arrest. I will continue to follow this case and follow up here with any other big updates. If you could give this video a thumbs up, click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Also, down in the video description are links to my Patreon or PayPal accounts where you can support this channel directly. Thanks again, everybody that's been sharing these videos and sharing the channel with others to help get the information out there. I'll follow up soon. Thank you.